Vanakkam students, let me continue the same unit carbon and its compound. This is the last video of this unit, last topic also. What's the last topic? That is organic compounds in daily life. See, we know that organic compounds, how it is inseparable with our human life. Lot of products we are using in our daily life. So in that product, lot of organic compounds are there. Let me see that what are the main product we are used in our daily life. Let me see what are the compounds present in that product. See, first hydrocarbon. See, we know that hydrogen and carbon is combined to form hydrocarbon, that we are having lot of organic compounds getting three classes. So that hydrocarbons where we have to use fuels, LPG, petrol, kerosene. So these are all the fuels contain only hydrocarbons. And raw materials, some synthetic materials. We are making lot of materials, synthetic materials, man-made materials. In that materials also we are having that hydrocarbon compound. And polymer materials we are using our daily life in some plastic oriented. So tire, plastic container. So in that plastic oriented material or tire containers, in that material also hydrocarbon is present. Without functional group, only hydrocarbons should be present in these are the materials which has to be used in our daily life. Let me see the next, all the functional groups included with the hydrocarbon, how we are used. See, alcohol. Alcohol separately it is not used, included with hydrocarbon. So alcohol is a solvent. Is a solvent and an antiseptic agent. Already we have learned here ethanol, no, antiseptic agent and solvent. And in this alcohol is also used as a raw material for synthetic materials, for making synthetic materials. And next functional group, that is aldehyde. So formaldehyde, which has to be get from the hydrocarbon, that is formaldehyde. This formaldehyde has been used in the disinfectant. So disinfectant contains formaldehyde, and the same aldehyde has to used as a raw material to make the synthetic materials. And next functional group is ketone. Ketone is also used as a solvent. And stain remover. Stain remover means some grease or oil which has to be deposited on our cloth, means this in the presence of ketone, that ketone will remove the stain. So stain remover. And ether, one of the functional group, ether. Anesthetic agent. Anesthetic means we are unconscious, we have to inject some medicine. So in that medicine, what it is, that compound there, that is ether. And painkiller. If we are having any pain, continuous pain, means that to prevent that pain, in some we are taking or consuming tablets. In that tablet, what it is, that ether. Ether can prevent or stop the pain. And last functional group, that is ester. Ester has to be present in cooking oils and lipids. So in cooking, nowadays we are using lot of cooking oils. In that cooking oils, if you are seeing the back side, what are the ingredients should be present. If you are seeing lot of organic compounds are present. Each and every cosmetics products or any medicines, any food, synthetic food materials, if you are seeing the ingredients, or lot of organic compounds has to be present. So main compound what we are using our day-to-day life, that is soap and detergent. Now we are going to see how we have to make a soap in our daily product, or detergent, how we have to use the detergent, and how that water is linked with that soap and detergent. Let me see soap and detergent. So the next topic, soap and detergents. What is soap? Soap is a cleaning agent. We know that soap and detergent is a cleaning agent. See, cleaning agent, that the cleaning agent contains what it is. Soap, it contains salts of fatty acids. So it contains lot of fatty acids are there. And detergent means is also a cleaning agent or cleaning product which contains the mixture of chemical compounds. See, what is the difference between soap and detergent? We will see later. First, we have to see that soap. What is soap? How we have to prepare? What are the types of soap? So, soap contains sodium and potassium salts. Soap contains sodium and potassium salts. See, and also it contains the long chain of carboxylic acid. We called it as a fatty acid. Already we have seen is a salt of fatty acid. Soap has to be prepared, or soap contains lot of fatty acids. And what are the raw materials used to make soap? One is fat, another one is alkali. Alkali means nothing but in the presence of sodium hydroxide and or potassium hydroxide. Mostly we are using sodium hydroxide. Very often we are using potassium hydroxide, because potassium hydroxide, if we are using in the soap, means it easily dissolves in water. Easily dissolves. So that in that product we are using potassium hydroxide. So sodium hydroxide mostly we are using to prepare soap. So that is the alkali is the one of the raw material to prepare soap. What are the two types of soap? One is hard soap, another one is soft soap. Hard soap is the saponification of oil or fats. Oil or fats with what is the alkali should be added here, that is caustic soda. So that oil mixed with the caustic soda, we have to get the hard soap. This hard soap has to be used as a washing purposes, not bathing purpose. Only washing purpose we have to use this hard soap. Soft soap means same process, oil or fats with potassium salts. Already I told you that potassium alkali salts. So potassium salts, where we have to use cleaning our body, human body. So that are the two types of soap, hard soap and soft soap. Next, how we have to manufacture the soap. See, in village side they are preparing the soap in home itself. That process is called kettle process. It's a small scale production. It's not a large scale production. It's a small scale production. In the ancient time they are producing like this. Nowadays that village people can also manufacturing like this. How they have to manufacture? First they will take that oil in a tank, iron tank. Thus iron tank we called it as a kettle. Then what they have to add in that oil, that is alkaline. Alkaline means either sodium hydroxide or potassium. Any one of that alkali you have to add only the 10% to that oil. Then you have to heat that mixture continuously. Heat, you have to heat direct, not heat that steam you have to fast. If you apply steam, then what it should be happened, that all in hydrolyzed means what are the components present in the oil, it should be hydrolyzed, and at last what it should be separated. That process is called saponification. Till now we are not getting soap, we are getting that initial stage of soap product, that is saponification. Only that content what it is present in the oil, it should be hydrolyzed. Let me see the second process, that is the removal of salt content. Let me see the second process. Okay. Second step of that kettle process is salting out of soap. Salting out of soap means what we have to do the last process. See, we have the saponification mixture. That mixture you have to add common salt. In that mixture you have to add common salt. What it happened, that soap is precipitated. After a very long time, then what happened, the soap, it will be rises on the top of the liquid. Then you have to collect the soap and let it be cool. So in all the process it will be under the heating. So if you are giving the heating continuously, then if you are heating continuously, then you add common salt, then the soap is precipitated. After that, after a few hours, then the soap is rises on the top of the liquid. You collect the top of that soap and then give it to any modern vessels, let it cool. Finally, you have to get soap. That top, that some soap is collected on the top of the liquid that is called curding mass. That is curding mass. Then you have to take the curding mass and kept it any one of that container, let it cool, and you will take the soap. So this is the way we have to manufacture or produce the soap in kettle process. Then the next topic, effect of hard water on soap. If you are using soap, then what is the effect of hard water? See, if you are using a hard water, when you are put a soap on a cloth, what happens in the presence of calcium and magnesium ions, that what it is present in the hard water, that calcium and magnesium ions, it should be present in the hot water. What it will happen is it is deposited on the cloth. So it will not remove while you are using that water. If you are washing that cloth in water, means these calcium and magnesium ions it won't remove from that cloth. Finally, what happens? It will that ions will damage our fabric, our cloth. And finally, what happened? A thin layer of soap foam, scum or thin layer is formed on the what is that cloth. That will damage our what is the fabric. So which one is better to use the cleaning purpose of a cloth, that is detergent. So soap have some fault to damage or to destroy our cloth. So we have to use what it is, the detergent. So let me move on to the detergent. So what is meant by detergent? What it contains? Detergent is also the salt of sulfonic acid and alkyl hydrogen sulfates. In that detergent contains sulfonic acid and alkyl hydrogen sulfate. And in one of the best usage of detergent is it do not form precipitates with calcium and magnesium, which has to be present in hard water. We have seen in soap calcium and magnesium ions which has to be deposited on the cloth when we are using soap in hard water. But if you are using detergent, that calcium and magnesium it should not be deposited or precipitate on the cloth. It is the main features of this while using this detergent. How we have to prepare that detergent? See, sulfuric acid it should be added with the hydrocarbons which has to be get from petroleum. So petroleum we know that we are having hydrocarbons. In that hydrocarbon you have to add sulfuric acid. In that sulfuric it has to be combined to form some fatty acids called molecules. Then what happens? In that molecule you have to add alkali. Alkali means either potassium hydroxide or sodium hydroxide. If you add alkali, what it is there? Some surfactant molecules are there. This surfactant will break down the surface tension of oil or grease. Some greases on our cloth means it has to be removed, and this surfactant also prevent the formation of precipitation. These molecules has to prevent the formation of precipitation. Finally, this detergent we have to add lot of organic compounds to improvise the cleaning. So what are the organic compounds we have to add with this detergent? What are the usage of that organic compounds? Let me see the first organic compound, that is sodium silicate. If you add the sodium silicate to this detergent preparation means what it will do? It will prevent corrosion and also does not damage washing machine. Nowadays we are using washing machine to wash our clothes. We are using detergent to wash our clothes through washing machine. If you are using detergent means sometimes it's a local detergent. If you are using means that washing machine will damage. So if you are using a proper and standard detergent which has to be get from the proper production means in that detergent sodium silicate is there, it does not damage washing machine. And the second organic compound, fluorescent whitening agent. That why we are using this fluorescent whitening agent, it will give glow to cloths. So if you are using detergent, this one of the product that is compound, it will give glow to cloths. And next one, oxygen bleaches. What is the meaning of oxygen bleaches? What's the compound name? That is sodium carbonate. This compound will remove stains. It will be present in our clothes. And another one compound, it should be added in detergent, that is sodium sulfate. This sodium sulfate prevent, see, sometimes if our washing detergent powder, it will be wet, means if we have to make it as a cake, like they have to roll, it will form some cake like model. So if that sodium sulfate is present in the detergent, it will prevent that caking. Detergent powder does not make it as a caking model. And enzymes also, it should be present. Why we are using enzymes in that detergent powder? If in our dress have any juice marks or tea, any oil, it should be present in our dresses, means it will break down the stains. Which one break down? The enzymes. And chemicals. So finally what we have to do? Chemicals. Why we add these chemicals? Different chemicals means, if we use detergent, after that it will dry out, no? We are getting some flavor, some deodorants. Why that dresses will give some freshness, some pleasant smell. So that we are using chemicals to give that pleasant smell. So finally we are using. So these are the organic compounds which has to be added with the detergents to enhance the dress qualities and to remove the clean. So these are all the compounds which has to be used in the detergent. And now what we are going to see, that is the cleaning action of soap. What is the meaning of cleaning action of soap? Is nothing but how that soap is cleaned in our cloth. First, in soap contain two ends. One is polar end, another one is non-polar end. Polar end means this polar end should be present in soap molecule. This polar end, we call it as a short end. Polar end is always having the carboxylate group, and non-polar end is a long tail which contains hydrocarbon chain. So a soap molecule contains polar end, non-polar end. In this polar and non-polar end, we have some chemicals, no? That non-polar end have hydrocarbon and polar end have carboxylate group. If the polar end is also called hydrophilic. Hydrophilic means water loving. Means that this end is attracted towards water. Non-polar end is also called hydrophobic. This is water hating. Means this hydrophobic is attracted towards dirt or oily, which has to be present in the cloth. So it is not attracted towards water. Hydrophobic is not attracted towards water, which is attracted towards only dirt. And next, if you are using that soap in our cloth, means which is dissolved in water, it will form some foam which is called it as a micelles. So micelles, this hydrophilic, what it has to do, this hydrophilic, it will remove the hydrophobic in water. Here hydrophobic, what they have to do, this hydrophobic end means the non-polar end attracted the dirt and keep it in the cloth. When we dip the cloth in the water, the hydrophilic, what it has to do, it will clean out it will dissolve that dirt in water. So this is the action of soap in water. Then what is the advantages of detergent? It will used in both hard and soft water, and it has always used in saline and acidic water. And do not leave any soap scum. These detergent do not leave any soap scum, that is any foam. And dissolve freely in cool water and rinse freely in hot water. Which one? Detergent. And it is detergent can also wash in woolen garments. Soap is not suited for woolen garments. Washing means detergent is used to wash woolen garments. Then it contains linear hydrocarbon chain which is biodegradable, and it is an anti-emulsifier, active remover of mortar grease, and the last advantage is that is effective and safe cleaning of our cloth. So this is the advantages of detergents. Next topic is biodegradable and non-biodegradable detergent. So biodegradable, what is that? See, this detergent contains linear hydrocarbon chain, and also this carbon chain is degraded by bacteria. Degraded by means it will not cause any pollution in water. This carbon chain will be degraded by bacteria. So in this detergent we called it as a biodegradable detergent. And what is non-biodegradable detergent is opposite to that of biodegradable. Highly branched hydrocarbon is there. Highly branched hydrocarbon, and this hydrocarbon is not degraded by bacteria. So in that time what will happen, that water will be polluted by this hydrocarbon. So this is a non-biodegradable detergent. And the last topic, disadvantages of detergent. Only two disadvantages is there. One is main thing, some non-biodegradable detergent will produce or will make a water pollution. Will make the water pollution because that hydrocarbon is not degraded by microorganisms what it is present in the water. And the second disadvantages is more expensive than soap. It will more expensive than only two disadvantages, but it will make water pollution, and it will more expensive. That detergent will be more expensive than soap. And the last topic of this unit, carbon and compounds, is differences between soap and detergent. First thing, what are the components present in soap? That is sodium salt of long chain fatty acids. In detergent, sodium salt of sulfonic acid. And next, what's the ionic part? It should be present, COO minus and Na plus, and here sulfates, SO3 and sodium. And here it is effectiveness is reduced in hard water because there's ions. It should be present in the hard water. It should be deposited on the cloth. So effectiveness is reduced. But here effective in hard water. So this detergent is very effective because it does not precipitate any ions on the cloth. So effective even in hard water. And here scum has to be produced in hard water. In detergent, if you are using, does not form a scum. And in soap, poor foaming capacity. Foam, we know that, right? When we are using foam, it is very poor foaming capacity. But if you are using detergent, rich foaming capacity. And last difference between soap and detergent, soap is always biodegradable, and detergent, most of the detergent is biodegradable, most detergent is non-biodegradable. So these are the differences between soap and detergent. Thank you, students.